Ta sư Đê Lê, khen trên là Spanish and German. Welcome everybody to this wonderful teaching again today. So let's start with the program with the My Manala offering.
Tâm hoàn toàn giải thoát khỏi những ràng buộc của chân và huyễn, siêu vượt danh tự và các tướng của sinh diệt và trụ, siêu vượt đi và đến, lấy và bỏ mạnh Đà La tối thượng chính là cảnh giới tâm nguyên sơ. Chúng con xin dâng cúng tất cả và qua đó nguyện cho chúng con được gia hộ để đạt đến cảnh giới Phật. Om Ruru Dewa Dakini Rasna Mandala Pratishtha.
Complete.
Chị Loan.
I'm not spotlighter. Completely liberated from the bound of real and unreal, transcending the name and attribute, rising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and deny. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Diwa Dakini Ratna Mandala Pratisha Soha.
Sanje Judan Soji Jonam Lai Chanchum Padu Dane Japsunji Dagi Jinso Jimbe Zonamji Dola Benji Sanje Dumber Sho Sanje Judan Soji Jonam Chanchum Padu Dane Japsunji Dagi Jinso Jimbe Zonamji Dola Benji
诸佛正法圣众会直至菩提，我皈依。我以布施等功德为利有情，愿成佛。
The ultimate, until the attainment, I take refuge to the Buddha Dharma and Supreme Assembly. By the merits of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
Nam Gadanyam Besanjan Tamche Devadan Devin Judan Dembra Jurji Dungedan Dungech Judan Jebra Jurji Dungem Devadan and Jurabra Jurji Niren Chadan Nidan Danyum la nebra juru ma namga danyam be samje damche deva dan deve judan demba juru je dunga dan dunga je judan jabra juru je dunga mebe deva menjerva juru je niren chadani tarve danyum la nebra juru
愿一切众生具得极乐因，愿一切众生离苦即苦因，愿众生不离无主无苦之妙乐，愿永离爱憎，常住平等舍。
May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment.
Chanze wadan jujen shaba 当解说也让古今说也给我也介绍他们前做被讲出全部
rejoicing, beseeching, and requesting. I dedicate it all for the sake of complete enlightenment.
顶礼以及供养忏悔语，随其功德敦请其诸事凡诸为许善业我积举，总为圆满菩提而回向。
周根南道新道觉巴拉修格桑永作拉美作南拉前那三分的心你见求道路龙舟那是用些来拉美就给我做在路上我个人的王家根人那们的拉巴的在说
香水突似花朵铺满地，圣山四周日月为庄严。愿念佛刹以作供养故，愿诸众生受用清净土，景象三身圆满上之众。万内密三真如以供养，无生之财万物悉受以无上殊胜成就其次语。Om Guru Devata Kini Radha Mantra Bhakti Jasoha。
With my body, wealth, and all that is visible, please grant me the supreme realization enlightenment.
圣贤南无三巴唐罗耶切扎吉德瓦切中提蒙提拜确见
一切众生之思会根器不同而见之，共与不共大小乘，习情殷勤转法轮。今天早上的网络好像不是很顺，万一这个连线有问题，我会用其他的方式想办法来做转译。
感谢各位讲者。就是龙仙格拉格瓦来周人这边各具仁波切这个南布特别渐渐前老几区区加出前辈演的是没时间帮他们加切瓦云龙瓦人家这边直接成马没别老马当把能拉长在线球的接送结果前接老不然这都说多见强王的罗那罗的慢慢的我破人接电过各点顺电在为老美小这就那么也能集中了说完的时候的就现在论现在俺的等把做上节刚的忙我把电那么的小都接上先特别难等吧用这些年能拉个这样子拉到拉美们节王博当就进老师去接受了这话这把能上节送了绕的时间单位就就但但切切特别去年把样的谢谢nam ga da nyam be sim che tham che che thun du to ja lan nam me bar yang ta bar zo be sang ji ji kon bang dang ba jin de jang to bar cha de che du tam be chu sam la chu jin du ju bar ji wo nyam be sam ba chang chun cho do le bar sa nam de sem bar shu de lan de kan ji sem bar che be chu de ne da tham da tam be chu gung ba ji we gi jong 어디니 임바르다 대라양 근데 좀 되는나네 되는 간도 좀다 주바 다금 집에 좀 된데 쉬어라 집에 갑 대임바래
For the sake of all sentient beings, try to in order to get
为了利益一切有情众生，祈求自己能够获得正悟，并且仔细的来聆听正法一意，共齐的这个讲法教，怀抱着这个利益的众生的这个心态来听法。我们正法一意总共有7品。我们已经讲的第6品就是见修行品。
好了。
上次讲到第10计串习所悟见地是为修，那念一下接下来的10计。11心离取舍，持戒方为行，见修行三不异而合一，大手印戒。读要说圣法，大手印之功德一切尊，根本定中一切功德生，不修其因功德无由生，了悟空性因果及备足，虽具了证有须方便道，名利行持一切为殊妙，不具三法无异声缘者。
야라서 다 죽지 봐. 다 된다 주배고를 쓴 거여와. 다 가생 드네 주배깔라 곰 세야 된 거죠 나다와. 당연도 남중 곰 세르자네 지 surdo tene goya yoba pandabuji sanotangro te mare ko to debategaran gomguro te komje cheadla gombas te kasan shu simbache la tereng jebalandro tawa sutem seata te imba jujiba la tende indu zane tene jebalandro tawa sutem so indu zane dila tene tiungge jebalandro tawa sutem seaga ko jigdang tene yang tumu mayin begi ji gongji gi yang jebalando tawa se ni la ti si ko manda wa ji yung ge yore ga san namju jedang gi namju kar sung ge yore se nen ke ba shinda gi ta jeba na ne jeban tar tu ba the langdo da tawa the res labdu zane kar langdo tar go res na ta ngone tar tu ge jebala gewa de res ne la ya yo mares Diban Dendejiresne Panya Yomares, Tinduzane, Colandro Tamjeta Tower, Essayach, that in the Chiton and the Shinangua. That under Chechu Gunchig on the chain to Zane, around so tani le Tampupe Kavlaina and da, Tobegi Yamni, Sen Tombola Pevekavina and da, Kandrayang, Tadung, Dipa Langcho Mares, Geva Torcho Mares, Tension and the Shinango. Lang say in the Zane Namjun Keva Shinda Sundu Zane, Juban Chebrajin, Juban Tombola pay in the Zane, Geva Langya Meba, Devatoria Meba, as Landro Trawa Sungurua. Tanda Jitin Sungungi, Le Tamboba in Enda, Toban Tombola Pinkin in the Suinayam. Tadung Diba de Langcho Mares, Natawan Tomboyu, Sene, Dibalana, Digmares, Natawan Tomboyu, Sene. Gewa tonan ring mares, tindu tadung gedik landula shifranangu res. Tadi jumse karchene chayong re saying the zane Gewa dan dibasayate legging over. Indu zane le sayati chechu de kar changurusna, flua meva sayat changurua, kurang chechu ngomade chachin ni changur lelam. Le sayate ma Deun take mare, leg Gewadan Diba Majen Kela, Dew Devada Domain take mare, Tindu, Le Majepa the Mentepa, say a chidang. Cheba ina, Cheba chu mesawa, say a chick. Sui Cheba ina, Tela, Dewtata, Mingre, says that Tindu, Le Sayatla Chachini de Tangure. Majepa the Mentepa, Cheba chu mesawa, said. The Induzane, Teneji, or Tope in Yamne, say. Mau le tangboba inaenda, tobe nyane tsen tombola peding inaenda, kandriang le sayat solo inayanko meluachi indu zane, tene a kadu inayang langdur tarwachi gures, diba langwa tan tarwa, gewa torja tan tarwa, tan dona karesna te tsutim res, genyenge tsutim, getsulgu tsutim, gelongu tsutim, ta tesumbo kanya romati. Never to go race, Juba Yantabala. Temado, the name Tawan Tombo use and the Juban Dama the Chevaina, the Juba Yantaka Chagmares, the Sombare.
So here the
第11计，心离取舍，持戒方为正，方为行。
Lord Jesus maintains that the conduct that is free from adopting and rejecting is discipline. So usually here, when we talk about the discipline, and also when we talk about the, like for example, the discipline that is kind of like avoiding, and one is the discipline which is to be accepted, right things to be accepted, and the avoid the non-virtuous things. So usually in general term, like many scholars, they stated that when you become a very kind of a high level of understanding and a very high level of study, we become out of, which is accepting and which is non-accepting. Beyond that means on the level of the emptiness. Whereas here in Gongchik, what it talks about is that it doesn't matter whether you have this or not. The point is whether you are a beginner or you are a highly realized person. The abandonment is an abandonment, and the one which should be practiced for the virtues should be the virtues. So usually what happens is sometimes people think that when you're in a high realized state, then you are allowed to do something. But what Lord Jigten stated is there's no allowance for anybody if that is non-virtuous, even if you're in a high stage or in a high state. Why? Because whatever the virtues is virtues at the same time, even at the level of the high state, in the same way as in the lower state. For example, you're the beginner, is the same for the beginner as well as the same for the high realized person, because it is the karma. So the karma will never deceive us, because once we have accumulated the causes and condition, the consequences is bound to happen. Doesn't matter whether you are beginners or you are the expert practitioners or you're on the high stage. So therefore, what Lord Jigten stated is the karma will not differentiate whether you are a highly realized person or lower person. It is bound to happen. If you have accumulated the causes, the consequences is bound to happen. Therefore, it is stated that we should always be like following the righteous path, or we should know that even if you practice non-virtues at the highest stage, then we have to face the consequences. So there is no excuse for everybody. So therefore, like whether you have like a novice vows, or you have a like upasak vows or whatever, so if that is non-virtuous, then it's non-virtuous, same non-virtuous for the like high realized person as well as for the beginners. So there's no differences between. So here, what Lord Jesus stated is there's no difference between the karma for the beginners.
那在这边呢，一般的人会认为说，这个我们要行善，接受善行，然后避免这个不善行。那有些学者会认为，在这个高阶的这个修行者来讲呢，那么他可以有比较多的自由度，能够做一些更多的行为，因为他们是不管是接受该应接受或不应接受的，都是在空性的基础之上。但是在这个正法义共集这边，吉特松公祖师提出来，他的见解是，无论你是初学者或者是高阶的行者，我们应该要修养的是善法，而不是说高阶的行者就有比较多的那个特许，可以做一切的事情。 因为即使高阶行者也应该只做善行，所谓善就是善，所以善的定义对初学者或者是高阶行者都是一样的。从另外一个角度来讲，业就是业，只要有因必定有果，这个业不会去分别你是一个初学者或者是高阶的这个行者。那所有人要做的就是依循正道而行。那即使我们今天行不善行，高阶的行者也会要面对果报的。不管你是别解脱界或者是菩萨界等等的，所谓的不善行就是不善行，这个跟你的学习的程度、初学或者是高阶行者，两者没有差，因为业是不分这个你的修行的高低的，只要有因必定有果。所以第11计是心离取舍持戒方为善。方为行。
죄배 제수 따와 마슈르바지 치고레스 대송요레 대송도 자는 가르송에서는 먼저 따와서야 되라 지다 디 드루고레 디 빵고레 세야게 남도지 유사와이나 디 따와양다 차이 말와 디 인디 자네 따와 되라 랑두르 자와는 매바 게와 랑잔 데레세야 당 디과 도잔 데레세야 기고 남도 그 뚜바 탐제다 차와지 차와이나양 죄바야 디난신체나 다 강정 만주 제고 야보 통나 야보 도보 통나 도보 가리나 제자와이나 지바 고마레선 드린 담나 mambo 제자와이나 대따웨 제수 죄바 쇼로 와서야 데레스티 야보 마레스 텐드산에 따웨 제수 죄바 쇼르주요 마레스 대난신 죄베 제수야 따와 추르셔야 요 마레스는도산에 죄바 라야데 가세이네 야보 제고레스 준부 제고레스 tum부 제고 얘네야 따와야 디난신 제자와이네 따와도 돌아차그레스 어떤데 인도산에 그런 거지 따와 따웨게 돈에 죄베게 돈에 고난지 름시 제로 왔는데 직서 소소소소고 따다지가 되는 로토가 지난 거레스 어떤데 송도와 디인도산다 대단 tum버치는 단단한 제대 송공게 되네 죄발랑도다 잡아다 추템 양타발 내야 돼 죄바야 쇼레스 뇨라제요 말을 송말다
So then, and also here's one story that when during the time of Milarepa, and when Phamodrupa was, Phamodrupa has received all the pitch instructions from Milarepa, and he has enough practice, and also he was well stabilized on the meditation practice, and he's able to go for the further for his own practice and to help other sentient beings, to help for the other sentient beings. So that time when he was about to leave the master, and what the Milarepa said was that even if you almost become a Buddha, we should not like give up the small things like, practicing the virtues and avoiding the non-virtues, because usually sometimes people think that we take, when you feel that you're about to enlighten, then you feel that it's okay, whatever you do is okay. So what the Milarepa said is it's not okay. We should try to avoid the subtlest of the subtlest non-virtues, and also the non-virtues which can lead you to the downfalls. And also sometimes, like, for example, if you are convinced that you will not go, you will not go for the downfall, even though you should not practice that, the subtle non-virtues. But at the same time, you should practice the subtle of the subtle virtues and deeds. And also so therefore, and at the same time, the Guru Padmajuna, Sambhava, also stated that one should not go after the views by one's own practice and one's own conduct, and also the view should not go after the conduct. The reason why is that even if you have a highest and highest view, you should not act as you have a highest view and you just act like whatever you like. So we should not act crazily, like thinking and taking into granted that you have the highest and highest view. And also, even if you have a highest and highest view, your character or your habits or your character or your conduct should be compromising with the society and so on and so forth. And at the same time, your view should not go after the conduct, because so here when you are having a highest and highest view, at the same time you try to compromise with the lower kind of view, then it doesn't work. So therefore, what the Guru Padmasambhava stated, that one should not go one's own conduct after the view, and view should not go after the conduct. This is what it says. This means it stated that one's own practice should be, one's own conduct should be go beyond, which is to accept and which is to be avoided. So this is what it is needed. So in the middle way, we have to follow that. Our conduct should be beyond adopting and refusing, rejecting and so forth.
那在这边跟各位分享几个故事。第一个就是弥勒日巴祖师，那个时候他的弟子帕莫祖巴已经得到了弥勒日巴祖师的一切的言教等等，而且他帕莫祖巴本身有内在很好的修行，他禅修的境界也很高，他在那时候已经可以帮助许多的众生了。他在告别上师之前，弥勒日巴特别给他父你认为你已经接近佛了，也应该不停的来行善，也应该要舍弃不善行。因为当时有些人认为说，如果你的修行已经接近佛的，那你一切的行止都是可以的。但是显然弥勒日巴祖师并不是这样子讲，只要是做行不善之行业，自然就是一种过患。即使在一个很微小、很微细的城市，做很小或很微细的善行都应该去做。那么莲师也有类似的讲法，他说见地不应该在行止之后。即使你今天有一个最高的这个见地，那也不应该任意行事。我们的行止应该跟社会规范要符合。那见地不应该在行止之后。如果见地很高，但是行止就是很低层次的见地的人的行止的话，这样是不对的。我们的一切行止应该超越这种我们要去接受或者要去避免的这种二元对立，应该要有一个中道的标准，也就是善是要行，不善是不要行。不要因为认为自己的见地高就可以去任意而为，这样子是不对的。所以弥勒日巴祖师莲师也是有同样的看法。善就是善，不是因为你的修行的层次高低而有所改变。第12季见修行三不异而合一。
So here when it talks about the view, as we have stated that what is the view? View is like one could able to see the reality of the mind, ultimate reality of our mind, and one which and one which familiarized, and one will go on and on, try to habituate with that understanding is the meditation. And also the conduct is the one which could able to try to develop or try to grow that view, which has been going on and on over again and again, developing that and try to develop that and try to avoid the obstacles and then try to support or try to complement that kind of view is known as conduct. So therefore, it is also stated that the Nagarjuna stated that if there is no vows, we should not behave like the view without having the vows and the vow without having the views. So these views and the vows has to go together. And these three things, the view, conduct, the view, meditation, and conduct, it has to go together, complementing each other or supporting each other. Like if there's two wood like this, standing and supporting each other, if one falls off, then other will automatically fall down. In the same way, these three things, view, meditation, and conduct, these things are actually supporting each other like this. It has to go together. It has to support each other. It has to be integrated together. Therefore, it is stated that the view, meditation, and conduct are not distinct, but one. Lasula.
所以第12季呢，见修行三不异而合一。那所谓的见地，就是心究竟的实相，我们所见的心究竟的实相。那我们对此应该要熟悉，要去理解。我们所谓的行止呢，应该是慢慢的修正我们的行为，来协助我们反复的来长养我们自己的见地，然后避免做出一些行止能够阻碍我们长养见地的，或者去支持我们见地发展的一些行为。龙树菩萨曾经有这样子的比喻，我们不应该只有见地而没有戒行，或者是只有戒行而没有见地。要知道见、修、行、见地，禅修跟行止彼此都是互相的支持，就好像两根木头彼此支持一般。如果两根木头靠在一起彼此支持的话，一根倒下，另外一根也会倒下。那在这边见修行就好像是三根木头合在一起，彼此上端是合在一起来支持的。那如果一根倒下，另外两根也会倒下，所以见修行是应该合一，彼此互相支持的。
차친세야드 따웨기 차는리 주름세야드 죄베기 차는 소용구요리 띠인도 전에 된대게 따주니고 세고나인다 야나 차친의 주름이 세고나인다 디니보티 네 지바레스 펜나 잔 남칼은 부르기 쇼바 예연나진레 송거래 자질라 케시 펜나 쇼바 예바다부시 야부유 연바다부티 지다 졸라차도 저네 지인바이나 고남칼은 부르토야 섬다래 대난신 연바 야보유 예바 야보면 흠다로와 포르투마와 대지도다 남칼라 빼지 깔레 메바 데오지는 프로구요나 쇼바예윤 이바 니가데 누반 라냠이바 지당 근데 졸라 마차와지 양다바지 구요로와 빼티난신 전에 따웨게 돈에 차친게 따와 또바 텐제 줄에 니데베게 따와지 예베게 땡도 근데 쥐베게 차네 소소타르베게 추름 양타바 여denken지 만탈라양 게니게 추름 양타발라든 내denken지 텐데지 구요레 스탠더고 차켄더 추름니데 직 송절게 도는 냠술내 토바이나 때는 제부 산지게 고마세야 답대고 차용그레스 디지도 전에 차켄더 추름니보데 타르도 김밥사 찍라 밥고레스 뭐야 지와레 차켄양 메게와 꽝와 게웨게라진데 Sutramyang Megewa Pangwa Gevera Jinre Devuya Jibare Chakchen La Tene Devu Tartuba Sanjig Kumbare Sutram La Tene Devu Tartuba Sanjere Kasangatun Durveka Susonzwan the Durwa Tamchen Chimbi Yishi in Sumbarwa the Sutram de Tamchen Chimba Sanjigi Yishi Sutram de Sungre Tin Tartu Yunduzan Sanjigi Yishire Tendu Devu Chanaya Jibare Tene Jui Chanaya Jibare Chakchengi Toba Yang Taba Jula Jever Chebala Guyore Sutram Yang Tabaji Chayala Lama Seda Dembajila Mugu Yang Tabaji Guyore Tinduzane Tendega Tone Tene Chakchen Dang Sutram Nibote Mowo Ju Devu Tenashin Chile Nigagi Chile de Jibanyamu Bapa Pongor Chebe Chilewa O Tinduzane Hele Kanchi Tone Nenga Chila Papa Chingores. Then the Watani Chachin Sutram Ne Chigler Zinkende, then Jitan Songo Mato Yomarisana Peche Lamna Manambe, Chachin Sutram Ne Chigler Tzigure, the Ina Kasewu Tone. Jim Senda Chibeton, Sasha Nangan, Jitan Songo Chayan Duzane, then Jitan Songo Chichu Chan over there.
Here, the 13th Vajra verses. Mahamudra and discipline have a single vital point. This is Jita Sungmin's unique teaching. So, as we have stated last time, a few points about it. It means about the Mahamudra and the vows. Has the same vital importance, has the same status, same points. Usually what we have in our mind is that when people talk about the Mahamudra, we think about the very highest level of talk. We think about the highest states. We think about if we practice this one highest level of things, and it's like, we should be able to have a highest level of, the result, and so on. And when we talk about the vows, we look down upon that, and we talk about, its nature is a little bit lower. It has a lower quality, and its activities and its, the character and so forth, such kind of lower. This is how we take it usually. And what Lord Jiten Sungmin stated is, no, this is completely misunderstood. These two things, Mahamudra and the vows, are actually the same importance, has the same importance, whether it is whether it's their actions, whether it's their character, or whether it's their the result, the same. And also the Buddha has stated the same thing. And it is something like that. For example, if these two things has the same importance, same birds, wings, the two wings of the birds. For example, if the birds were to fly, they have to have two wings. Without having the two wings, they couldn't fly. If there is a defect on the one, in either one of the side, it's defect, then the bird couldn't fly. So therefore, the both side has to be level, and has to be kind of to levelize, have to be the same status, and has to be in a condition to fly. So therefore, these two things, Mahamudra and vows, whether there's Mahamudra and the vows are the same thing. So for example, with the vows and with the Mahamudra, the highest views, and also with the practice, with the conduct, whether the conduct is kind of individual conduct, unless for the, at least you have to have kind of the novice vows in order to attain the Buddhahood. So with this practice, having this Mahamudra, and you're having this vows, then only you can attain the Buddhahood. For example, it is the same kind of their nature. The vows, for example, what is their nature? Their nature is the virtuous nature. For example, even the Mahamudras' nature is the vow, the virtuous action, the virtue, and also the vows has the nature of virtue. And for example, the result is also to become Buddha or to all-knowing Buddha. So whether it's Mahamudra or whether it's vows, their ultimate result is to attain the Buddhahood. And also, if you talk about their causes and conditions, their causes and condition is also the faith, or to like a devotion to their master, the unwavering devotion, as we have talked last time. So the devotion is also having an ultimate devotion. Their causes is also the devotion to their masters, and in the right way. And their activities also same, because their activities is to allow to practice the virtuous one and try to avoid the non-virtuous one. So from this point of view, these Mahamudra and vows has the same status according to the Lord Jigten Sungyen. And so far, from all these masters except Buddha, Jigten Sungyen is the one who tried to make it so unique of these teachings that the Mahamudra and discipline or the vows are the same status. Lasula.
那么第13期大手印戒毒药殊胜法，那在这个大手印跟戒行是同等重要，这个是吉天松公主是很独特的这个看法跟见解，就如同我们上次所讲的，这个大手印跟戒律有相同的这个重要性。一般人认为大手印是最高的这个修行层次，而戒律是比较低阶的这个修行，功德比较小。然后它的特质也是比较低阶的这种特质或功德，但是这种看法被吉天松公主师所否定，他认为这是一种误解，因为这两点是有相同的这个重要性的。他们有相同的因，相同的道。跟相同的果，积道果都是一样的。那么这个两者的相同这个重要性相同，就好像一只鸟的两个翅膀一样。如果没有两个翅膀，它来平衡它就没有办法飞。所以两种就是大手印跟戒律应该等持才能够飞翔。所以大手印就是等同戒律的。一般人认为说，大手印的这个修持是很高的，这个境地也很高，但是呢，行止也是要很高才可以，也是要持戒才能够证得佛果。因为这两者的本质是相同的，戒的本质是善行，大手印的根本义也是戒，也是善行。从果的角度来讲呢，我们如果要成就佛果，要得到这个全知的佛果的话，那我们要仰赖大手印。那从因果的角度来讲呢，那当然大手印要有对上师有不动的前进心。那两者的行止都是相同的，有主要就是行善而避免不善行。大手印也有同样的这个标准。
Additional that Buddha has stated in the the sutra, that is the Dhyana Sutra, Dhyana Raja Sutra. It is stated that the Mahamudra like Mahamudra, for example, in order to have a Mahamudra, to have the state of Mahamudra, a perfect state of Mahamudra, depends on one's own person, individual, that he has like a prime conduct, a very like a perfect conduct, perfect vows or not. It depends on whether he has a perfect vows or not. And also, if you look about the the sutra which has like like asking question by Kashyap to the Buddha, and it is stated that even if you have, like in the sutra, it's stated that even if you have good vows or practicing the good conduct, but somehow if your mind is overpowered by the ego, then it is stated that it's not a perfect vows or perfect practice of the Sila. So therefore, it has to be associated. It has to be supported by the view of not grasping to that kind of such kind of a practice or such kind of vows. So usually what happens is people, when you are having a little practice of the vows, and you have an ego that you are practicing these and that and all this. So therefore it shouldn't be here in this case, we should not have to have that. So therefore this kind of vows should be corrected or to be purified by the right kind of views. The right kind of vows should be conducted by the right kind of views. So therefore, these two things, Mahamudra is associated with the right conduct, and right conduct should be associated with the Mahamudra. So therefore, these two things are in the same importance and the same status. That's all.
那么这样子的讲法，大手印跟戒行同等重要的讲法，这个除了佛之外，这个也是吉田松光祖师很独特的一个见解。那佛陀在这个经典当中呢，有一个经典有提到，我们要有个人先有良好的行止跟戒行，才可能修持大手印。在另外一个经典好像是弟子问佛经吧。如果说我们持戒精严的话，行止良善，但是内心自大的话，这样是不好的。内外都应该以见地来做支持，不应该有任何的执着。那么如果说外面良善，内在不行，这样内在邪恶，这样是不行的。这样的戒律应该，如果是有这样子的戒行的话，戒律应该要加以净化，要加以改正。那我们戒律应该要很正确，所以呢，这个大手印跟戒行是有相关联、紧密的相关的，两者的重要性也是等同的。
대체신도 주고를 고구로와 산지 주고서야다 연대 탐제다 덴베랑 신지 인도자네 배치 제시자당 지과를 때 이내양 아 이제 자자 전부 서야 대돈의 상호지 땅도 전에더니 남주 가르스기에서는 이제 차ချင်း선나인다 이제 오마선나인다 이제 조과 전부 서구나 간들 이제 서야지 이러와 이 이제대 나서 쪽에 갑라 이제 서게래 나란조 소소지고 갑기 semgeran신텔라 이제 차ချင်း선나인다 이제 조친선나인다 이제 오마선나인다 된다 따사디 나라 소소지고 갑기 semgeran신텔라 이 인도자네 테네 텐데게 semgeran신데 테네 카셰게 송 인도자네 단단 나란조게 semgeran신나 산제게 연대 요 말에서게 단단 나란조 산제 말에 산제게 연대 요 말에서 이내야 단대기라 때네 마음바 기트네 연대인데 톱토그레스 다 두수 정보지기 돈다는 상황방에 드는 대시지 나용 거예요. 된두 이 자자 진보 써야 돼. 연대 예바당 매백은 다 탐제다 자와레스. 데스지스게. 근데 람 자자 진보 써야 돼. 코로나 연대 요새 말이야. 코로나 연대 dum케네 있어요. 그 람차제 전부터 냠술 내용도 전에 대라 때네 마음바란도 도그래 스타트인데 선호당도 전에 이제다 람기 자체니부터라 연대랑신 여반도 지금 신난 겁니다. I think about 지지기 최로 지래.
So here now when you talk about the 14th Vajra verses, Mahamudra has the nature of all the qualities. It talks about the nature of Mahamudra. Actually, the nature of Mahamudra couldn't be talked. It's not something that we could talk about it because it's an emptiness and we couldn't talk that. But somehow, when we talk about it, we have to talk about it. And we talk about in the 4 categories, like the Mahamudra on the basis, and Mahamudra on the path, and Mahamudra on the result, and also the Mahamudra of the text, or the text means in the sense the teachings that were compiled in the book and so forth. Usually the 4th one, the text, which we are known as the Vajra, this Mahamudra, it's not actually the Mahamudra, but we gave the name Mahamudra. Actually, this is just a text, but some name Mahamudra. So there is no question about when you talk about the result. Actually, the result Mahamudra is actually the nature of all qualities. There's no question about all the lineages of in the Tibetan lineages, 4 lineages. So like the result Mahamudra is the Dharmakaya, and it consists, or it's endowed with all the qualities of the Buddhas and so forth. So there's no question about these things. But when you come in the terms of the base of Mahamudra and the path Mahamudra, there is some kind of a suggestion and statement there. So some of the scholars, they presented that during the time of our, when you are being in a ordinary sentient beings, so usually we take it about the mind of the nature of our mind is the nature of our mind in terms of the base, foundation, and in terms of the path is not it's not actually the quality of Buddha, but somehow when it goes in the future after a lot of hardship and practice, then ultimately one is able to attain the Buddhahood. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the foundation, the base, and the path is not actually all the qualities is there. All the nature of all the qualities, it's not nature of all the qualities. So whether you talk about the Mahamudra, whether you talk about the Umapa or Sokchen or whatever, so this is how they try to make a differentiation between all other scholars stated that the foundation and the path has not all the qualities. Only the last one, only the 3rd one, that is the result one, which is the Dharmakaya, has the nature of all these things.
那一般认为这个所以呢，我们这样子之前讲的说戒律呢，应该要这个要好好的修持。那么这边讲的是大手印具足一切的功德。那一般我们讲到大手印的时候，分成4个阶段或4个层次，一个是基，大手印的基，大手印的道，大手印的果，以及法教。那第4个法教所讲的就是一些典籍经论来阐述这个大手印的，它本身不是大手印，只是我们名相上给它安一 个大手印的这个名相。那对于我译的这个大手印的话，那么一切这个四大的传承呢，四大教派都认为说这个就是相等于具足就是法身，就是具足佛的一切的功德。那在这个之前呢，在像我们现在在凡夫的这个境界的，我们认为有心的这个本质，那么在这个机跟道的这个大手印的机跟道的这个阶段呢，我们还没有具足佛的一切的功德，但是透过种种的苦难以及修行而证得佛果的话，自然就会记住一切功德。那这个在不管你修的是大手印或者是大圆满等等呢，都是类似的这个看法的。所以呢，这种看法是说，在机跟道的过程当中呢，我们还没有具足佛的一切功德。
So here now, at this point, what the Lord Jesus stated is that when we talk about the base or the foundation of the Mahamudra, it is not something which is like kind of empty and it's nothing there. It means when we talk about the base, it talk about our own mind, the ultimate nature of mind, which is the Buddha nature. So therefore, from this perspective, what Lord Jigensmin stated is that from the very beginning, at the base level, our mind has the nature of all the qualities. And in the same way, like, for example, like the sun is obscured by the clouds for the time being, but it doesn't mean there's no like kind of radiation for the sun or the sunlight is not there. It doesn't mean that. It's just temporarily being obscured by the cloud. Whereas it doesn't matter whether the sun goes from east to west, if it shines there, but the sun has its own light. In the same way, our mind is never like kind of obscured by the so ignorant and so forth. Therefore, our mind, since on the base level, is with all the qualities, and at the same time here, even during the time of the path also, because when we are practicing this one, our path is also free from all these kind of qualities. So the path is also has the nature of all the qualities. Of course, there's no question about the result, because result, as we have taught, since it's a Dharmakaya, it has all the qualities. So from this perspective, like when you like from the very beginning, it is the Buddha nature. From the very base, it's Buddha nature, so it has all the qualities. And in terms of path, because we are practicing the Mahamudra, and it's the practicing Mahamudra in terms of, then it has all the qualities of that, nature of all the qualities. And ultimately, in terms of the result, it has all the qualities. So it is for this reason that Lord Jigensmin stated that all Mahamudra has the nature of all the qualities in terms of base, in terms of path, and in terms of the result. That's all.
所以这个第14纪大手印之功德一切尊，那么这个讲的是这个根本或者是基础，说一切皆空德是我们的究竟的本质，这个就是我们的佛性。所以从一开始在这个基或者是根的这个基道果，或者是根道果这个基或者是根的这个阶段呢，我们已经具足了一切功德的这个本源了。那么这个就好像说乌云遮日一般。举这个例子来讲，当乌云把这个太阳遮掉了，并不是太阳失去光芒，只是太阳的光芒被遮起来，我们看不到了。 这个太阳的光芒，不管是它从东往东或者是往西，都是随时都是具有太阳光芒的。所以在基的这个阶段呢，我们已经具足了一切功德，在道的修行道上呢，也要那个也是这个要具足一切功德的。那么当然在果地上来讲呢，因为已经证得法身，当然就自然就具足一切功德。所以从一开始，因为众生皆有佛性，他本质具足一切这个佛之功德，在修行道上也有一切的功德，果上面也是具足功德的。所以吉天松贡祖师这个看法，跟当时其他学者对于那个基跟道的功德还不完具来讲，不完备来讲是不一样的看法。第15计根本定中一切功德生，不修其因功德无由生。
계속 그때 하고와 있는 그때 비주는 고추고 차로에 용도와 이나신 인도전에 나랑조 선별하신 산제 연대 군대 된데지 레드 요르때 대인바 문제 마투 대인바 마시 대인바 마곰 되네 남도기 찜바토부 정책대도 전에 되네 자신 연대 란신 바되게 되네 마펜바인 바래 다 된다오티 연대도 주주 문든 줄이야라 다 가르고래 세야지로와 대지도잖아 다디 연대 모든 줄이야라 이시기 초사는 검자고래 소놈게 초사는 저줍고요래 대인도잖아 단디 도선니보 되게 소놈고 초는 이시기 초니 싸마토바이나 자신 연대게 다니 임바지고 개팽 말에 세야 대소는 거요래
So here above we have stated that the Mahamudra, the great Mahamudra, is endowed with all the qualities. Now here question arises. The Vajra verses 15 and 16 talks about the cautions, and it stated that if that is the case, if we have all the qualities, nature of all the qualities, in terms of the Mahamudra and the base and in the path and also in the result, then why are we always in the problem? We are suffering all the time. If that is the case, and why do we have to suffer all this? This means here, generally, we all have our own Buddha nature, and also we have like a clear light and so forth. But somehow, because of our misunderstanding, or the duality, part of duality, the oneself, self and others, and also inner objects. And also usually we don't look upon our inner quality. We are just looking to the outer object and try to collapse there and try to explain that and try to fall off the outer object. And that's how we get collapsed here. And we don't know the quality that exists within oneself. So this is the problem. And it's, for example, it's like a poor person who has a jewel or the gold in their house underneath their home, but they don't understand. They have gold inside under their house. So it's something like that. So we, if we don't recognize our own ultimate nature of mind or the Buddha nature, then this is how we are in suffering. Then it is stated that we even if we have the Buddha Mahamudra, what all the qualities, what is the requirement? Then it is stated that we have to have the two accumulation, that is the accumulation of wisdom and the accumulation of the merits. These two has to be come into the account. Otherwise, even if we have a kind of Mahamudra, and the great Mahamudra and perfection of Mahamudra doesn't make any sense. And these two, all the nature of the qualities, Mahamudra, the nature of all the quality has to be ripened through the accumulation of merits and accumulation of wisdom. So this is very important. Lasu.
Mm.
所以呢，我们在讲说，既然大手印是具足一切功德，在积道果上都以一切功德都本已具足。那么在15、16记这边，根本定中一切功德生，不修其因功德无由生。那为什么有人就问说，既然我们已经具足一切功德，在积道果这个3个阶段、3个层次，那为什么我们还要受苦呢？那我们现在都具有佛性，都有明光，但是因为众生的迷惘跟误解呢，执恶缘为实，而有外内的这个差别，内在的特质呢，去追求外在的这个物象，而忘失了自己，那这个就是问题所在了。这举个例子来讲，一个贫穷的人家里的地下藏有金子，他却不知道，所以他还是要接这个历经这个贫穷的这个痛苦。那因为凡夫不知道自己人具的佛性，不了解究竟的这个佛性而受苦。所以呢，我们虽然有大手印及一切的这个功德，还是需要有累积智慧及福德这2种资粮，否则讲大手印的话，只是一种空谈，是没有意义的。我们必须透过福德资粮跟智慧资粮的累积，我们心识才能够成熟。
남가 짱짱 이거와이나 님의 진구를 셀부 전 통용한 난신 전에 네 냠자 템보지고레스 냠버샤래 연대 탐진 중송외다 나라도 섬기란신 차자 전부 여와데 라메 ngote 나랑경 힘베 토라 공구요레스 냠버샤고요레스 냠버 가세 자와이나 대기 나랑솔라 딥댕겐기 timbanajing namto no sang de kale pa thangdo yorete ben chotso ba tende ji kesi changma zo gu yuna ta tingsang do jin ko log changma zo du le thawro ma do jin chode zo ba de hna ya gu ro chu zu jing ni lu sen ya gu re ne ko chode kale zo ba changma ma deng do re ne changma de ya thoba le ngu ro tin ko ya gu do pe tinajin do namto gi timbanajin de pa thorya ge chedu 냠버샤고 요래 딘두 냠버샤고 델라테네 드네 연대 탐체 종용고 요래 딘두 주찌래 다양 계시 냠샤기 곰찌부 잠네 소놈게 초 마사와이나 야 연대 차창와지 톡톡 말해 연대 차창와지 용야라 야 지토게 초사고 그래 딘두 도성 주루바데기 전에 마두 연대 종메시 송도와 주루부레스 Tiga video sonang so sagure sungere. Tanjipana zamling kora janging lungdi agudo lungdi gudo tinashin chene tene namkala timba mewa chiboyangu pengemendu dela nyamdun zamling korea lungde yang go nanshin chene nyamsha chibugi yang yonde cha 상황지 톡톡 말에 대인자 nyambra jabala tene yonde jungurede 다동 yonde 푸숨 소바 자야게 제도 지토그 가서 주두고레스 주 소놈게 초 사고다 짐바탄고 그래 수름송고 그래 저바공고 그래 준비 제고다 된데 간다지 주용수도 같이 두고레스 야 대송바래 대마도 주마주바이나 양연된데 주문든 종식이 말레스
So, for example, like this is an additional description for that. For example, if I'm here for today, and here it's dark, but somehow, if I were to see the sunlight tomorrow, there has to have two different things. The condition, I have to have two different conditions. One is that I need the wind energy, whereby the wind energy can turn over the world and to make possible to see the sun. And other thing is that they should not have a cloud. If there is cloud, then I couldn't see the sun. Even if the wind is there, wind energy is there, which can turn around the world completely to the side of the sun. But at the same time, if there is cloud, then I couldn't see. So in order to see the sun, for example, if I were to see the sun tomorrow, I have to have these two conditions, that the wind energy, which can turn the world, and also the sun is free from the clouds. And in the same way that our mind has to be in a meditative equipoise. Why? Because if we don't have this meditation and settle down all our conceptions, then our concept will not allow us to see the reality, to see the nature of our mind. Why? Because it acts as like kind of the clouds in the sky and to obscure the sun. In the same way, our conception also obscures us to see the reality within oneself, the nature of our mind. So therefore, the meditative example, like meditation is needed. For example, in the past, what we do is if we try to have a clear water, we have to get the water and put in the container, and we have to keep there for some time, try to settle down all dust, sink down and settle there. Otherwise, we don't have a clear water and to see the clarity. So in the same way, we have to have our meditative equipoise, try to clarify all the conceptual thoughts and events and so on. And other thing is that we have to have the merits, accumulations of merits. And the accumulations of merits is something like wind energy, which can turn over the world towards the side of the sun. So therefore, these two things has to be there, the accumulation of wisdom and accumulations of merits. For example, we have to have kind of the perfection of the giving, the perfection of the sila, the perfection of the morality, the perfection of the patience, the perfection of the effort, and perfection of the meditation, and so forth. These are all required to have in order to have that kind of Mahamudra to be, to have the nature of all the qualities. And also, this will help us to understand better and to how to become a Buddha.
那举个例子来讲，我们今天在这里，那如果说现在是一个黑暗的晚上，那我们如何能够见到明天早上的这个光明太阳呢？基本上是需要两个条件的。第一个条件是依赖这个风大的这个力量，让地球能够转动，我们才能够看到明天的太阳。要不然的话，我们会一直处在黑暗当中，没有办法见到太阳。那么第二个条件呢，是要有这个没有乌云。如果有乌云的话，天空中如果有乌云的话，如果有乌云的话，我们就没有办法见到太阳，会被太阳遮住。那我们要具备这两种条件跟因缘，才能见到明天的这个太阳。所以呢，我们应该要禅修我们的心性，在修行上来讲呢，让我们心里的一切的妄念能够止息，才能够见到心性。那我们的妄念就好像天空中的乌云一样，会阻碍我们见到自己内心的这个本性。那么在过去的年代呢，如果说我们今天想要这个让得到一杯澄清的清澈的水的话，我们应该让它放在那里，让它能够慢慢的沉淀，然后才能够让泥沙沉淀，我们才能够得到清澈的水。 所以同样的，我们必须要透过禅修来清澈我们内心的这个妄念。那我们除了这个之外，也还要另外一个功德，才能够就好像风大一样，能够才让地球来转动，我们才能够见到明天的太阳。所以这个就是前面呢就是智慧之粮禅修，然后福德之粮，这两种我们都需要具足才能够来修大手印。所以这种功德福德的资粮的累积呢，就要行类似6度啦，就是布施、持戒、安忍、精进、禅定等等，这些要圆满，我们才能够有大手印的境界。那这个会帮助我们这个增长我们这个的修行。
Redena Jatsu Ding Mumatela Lapchin Yomara Sigdo, Yoameva Sigdo. Petin Shin Dutane, Anzun Jitin Chuje Dan, Tajin Namja Jungi, Naransu Lunga Yesum, Juba Tamche, the Chilogi, Balam Nanshin, Chirimoto, Une, Nalog Himbuti Marwa, Nalog Himbu Momate, Chutam Jiranshin, Tumbani, Seati Chanurua, or teaching Dutane, Mune Tony Yang Toyuna, then Chilogi, Balam Nanshingi, then Jitin Chuje Rewa. 지된 취재의 제도 되는 배전 된소 상마대 되는 매화직 차트 그래서 네 배지고 요래서 말다 대등한도 남주 이슈와 난신의 그 강에다 요러 상마대 취재의 소용과 취재의 제도다 레간다만의 제고래 레간다만의 제도는 당체 연구 요래 되는지 재산의 선호당이나 다 배지 갈수 그래 삼납동에 르른 나산다만의 마부조 소용과 대체 인도산에 되는 돈이 또 봐이나 랑긴 된도 지금 취재한 거님 두고래 시월에 찍대 송도와 근데 니바들 가르 송요에서는 연던도 재완hin지 전부 랑신기 제와 송바다 돈이 양 다와죠 또 인도 전에 대들 마도 백이 3000라 명이 hin지 쇼타고 지그레스 배는 아주 참참 인데 연구로와 웅골라 돈도 지금 무슨 앵고라 포유와 인 나사 가세 유메딩 안주 소속이 다 용차로와 용차도 자 미신다라 되네지 앵고라 도폰겐 찍라 상도나 테즈 힌지제야 레사와도 다때 모두 지단 앵고라 도포 마차도는 힌지제데 찍이레데 이나야 슈타고지 찍면도 간사는 앵고라 도포에게 나사 칸데 유메시랑 고추 말와 소속이 텐데게 나사지 용차에 제라 근데 얘라 근데지 종인도 전에 삼노데 고지 지원으로 로온도 전에 삼노 추로와도 슈다 용도 대난신인도 전에 근데 지 돈이 마도베기 강에 돈이 마도네 동해 용규 같은데 지 천용도 전에 근데 소소 돈이 또는 동해 지를 졸 근데 돈이 마도보 관계 동해 용규 가지 시용도 전에 근데 삼천 남라 미네 인지 정보 ran신기 제도와지 차용 그래서 돈이 도근 되우텔라 어떤 송도와 디지털 전에 된다는 데네양 돈이 또나 준대니도 당 세대 송바다
17 verses. If emptiness is realized, that itself arises as causes and condition. Causes and results. Sorry. So what it means here is like when it gives us like kind of investigation, whether one has realized the emptiness or not. So this is a demarcation of trying to understand whether one has known the emptiness or not. So when we talk about the understanding of realization of emptiness, so usually when we talk about the emptiness, like we say that we have realized the emptiness. Usually when we are realizing the emptiness, it's just on the superficial level. For example, like when we understand, even if you understand at the superficial level, it is possible to actually calm down oneself from all this kind of the 8 different kind of the worldly things. For example, so like for example, like it can suppress our, the worldly things. Like, for example, sometimes, when people praise us, we are happy. Sometimes people, disgrace us, then we are unhappy, and so forth. Also, like if we get something, like kind of the things, like if we get something, then we are happy. If we lose something, then we are not happy. This kind of things, then these are all known as there are 8 different, we get stuck, we get caught up in these 8 worldly things. So what happens if we try to, if we were able to understand at least, to realize at least some kind of understanding of the emptiness, this could put down the problems. So therefore, if this is actually suppressed down, then what happens is one could able to have some kind of peace, some kind of happiness within oneself. So for example, like these kind of things are all like kind of the fluctuation of the waves of the ocean. And when we talk about the ocean and the myths in the depth of the ocean, it is stated that it is so stable and so tight there. But somehow when you look at the superficial level, on the outside level, the waves of the ocean is so fluctuating and so on and so forth. So therefore, in the same way, right now, our understanding of emptiness or emptiness is something like that. So sometimes, fluctuated, like sometimes when you get something, then you are happy. When you lose something, then you are sad, and so on and so forth. And because of that, we do a different kind of things. We caught up into different kind of condition, causes and condition, and then we get into the problem. So therefore, the Shantideva stated that the one we have the understanding of emptiness is some kind of superficial, but somehow it could be able to depress or suppress some kind of the 8 different kind of worldly concern. And this is the first thing, this is the first thing we will have it, even if we understand or realize the understanding of the emptiness. And the second thing is, the second quality is that, so after having understanding this, one have a strong sense of compassion to other sentient beings. Why? Because once one have already realized, by realizing the emptiness, then one feel compassion to other sentient beings. But one could able to see that all other sentient beings have a problem because of not understanding, because of not realizing the emptiness. For example, it's something like that. If we see somebody hit by the stone, then if you oneself didn't hit by the stone, then one will not realize how difficult the situation or how painful this problem is. But if one have already by hitting the stone, and at the same time by having that experience, if one sees somebody else getting stone on their head, one could feel a strong sense of experience, the strong feelings, strong sense of feeling that you can't bear it. In the same way, one could feel like a strong sense of compassion to other sentient beings, because they are also suffering because of not knowing the emptiness. So these 2 things, one is like one could able to suppress or depress the 8 worldly concern, and the second one is that one could have a compassionate mind to other sentient beings.
了悟空性因果及被逐，这边的我们正有得空性的话，那么有2种这个功德会呈现。那么我们一般讲到空性的话，讲到正的空性，一般只是在表面上。那么如果说我们空性只是在表面上的这个理解的话，还会被世间8法或者是世间8风所影响。什么是8法呢？就是力衰毁誉嗔饥苦乐等等，这8种。 那如果说我们有人称赞我们，我们就很开心；有人诋毁我们，我们就不高兴。我们得到的东西，我们就开心的；失去就不高等的世间八法所影响。那么，但是如果我们真正的空性的话，了解空性，我们就会压制，就减少这些世间八法对我们的这个影响，内心是会很平和的，就好像这些世间八风或世间八法，就好像海洋上面的波浪一般，那在表面上是会有起起伏伏的，但是在海洋的底部，海洋的本质呢，还是一样的平静的。所以呢，这个在喜或悲呢，对一般人对凡夫来讲会行不同的事，造不同的缘而遇到这个问题。那么在寂天菩萨也有同样的讲法，那堪布后来就没有再继续讲了。不过就是说，如果我们证到空性的话，那自然就可以降低世间八法对我们的影响。这是第一个功德。第二个功德就是对众生呢升起很大的，自然而然升起很大的悲心。
Here the 18th Vajra verses, even for a realized one, the path of method is especially necessary. So what it means here is like, usually when we are having a Mahamudra practice, and first and foremost is when you have to have the understanding and realization of Mahamudra. And thereafter, one should also have to have the 6 yogas of Naropas and so forth and so on. Why? Because once you have this kind of all this kind of understanding and realization, then why do we do these 6 yogas of Naropas? And it's just try to practice or just try to these 6 yogas Naropas help us to bring our like kind of the channels and vein energy to function to works, and it also helps us to show us the miracles in order to bring other towards the path of the practice. So therefore, in order to bring other sentient beings towards to follow the other follow the practice, to bring other sentient beings draw towards the practice, we need to have all these things, the practice of the 6 yogas of Naropas. Otherwise, this is not very possible. So therefore, after having the Mahamudra, one should have to practice the 6 yogas of Naropas and so on.
那么举个例子来讲，怎么样有空性能够升起真正的大悲心呢？就是一个人如果被石头打到，旁边人可能不知道他的痛，但是如果我们过去曾经有这个被石头打到的经验，我们自己就能够感到很强烈的这个痛感，我们自己就不能忍受，因为我们所以呢，如果说我们今天有的空性呢，就能降服这个世间的这个八法。那第18计呢，虽具了证由须方便道。那我们有的大手印的修持，我们还要再修那6法，因为了知这个大手印的概念只是一个表面的层次，我们必须要有了解之后，我们还要真正的修那6法来帮助我在我们气脉上有所帮助，有所注意，能够让他们能够好好的作用，能够有种种的能力来帮助其他的这个众生到修行道上。所以有这样子的能力才能真正的帮助别人，所以说要帮助别人其实是不容易的事。所以这个第17、18计是了悟空性因果及备足，虽具了证由须方便道。第19计
19 Vajra verses, the superior conduct of realization,
以理行之一戒为殊妙。
discipline. So what it means is like, usually when they are saying like, when you have to practice, you have to go beyond the practice of clean and unclean and so forth. So this is also one way of practicing. And also there's like kind of one goes beyond the fear and unfear and so forth, which means it talks about practice like and so forth. Whatever it is the practice, then also like what it says is like when you reach to a certain stage, you have to behave like a lion, that to come out from fearsome, and you have to go beyond that fear and unfear, and also you have to go beyond the cleanliness and uncleanliness and so forth. But whatever it is, practice the people, it was stated there. But what Lord Chicken Sungin stated is that the ultimate discipline, ultimate awareness, the superior conduct is so therefore the superior conduct of realized awareness is discipline. So therefore the vows is very important. This is the supreme conduct of all the rest of the other.
第19计明理行持以戒为殊妙。当我们说要修行的时候，我们要就近要超越近跟不近。那我们也要克服恐惧，也要超越了恐惧跟不恐惧的这个阶段。那我们讲到，我们要这个阶段应该好像一个狮子一样，或者是狮子王一样，它是完全无惧的，它已经超越了恐惧或者不恐惧了，也超越了干净或不干净的。所以吉天颂公祖师讲说，就近的明觉及无上的行持，这个就是戒，所以这个就是第19计明理行持以戒为殊妙。
주미기 쥐발내나 레가지 가야 매완나지 드네지 섬당도와 사야 녜야 드네지 데스처럼 로야 졸람 단소마도 신다 개 매완도 지는 된는 게 나도는 지된 송공기 시월한나 신기 주미기 쥐발낸 게 이나야 샘그 토라 냠랭기 추숨 이버도 구요레스 계시 샘그 토라 냠랭기 추숨 매바이나 드네 주미기 쥐발난 게 또 특징 차이 말레스 대인도 두미기 죄반난 견지나야 섬그도라 냠랭게 담자 숨 기버도 고래 송바래 대매나 녀나다 제브라메스 다 담자 숨 세는 제 가르고 그러스나 디 드르벤나 송바난시레 디바찌 메자싱 디바찌 메자가 담자 개원 포숨 소바 찌에 송바나시 개원 포숨 소바 드베기 담자 만들어와 디돌라는 심전라 닝지 매방와 심전라는 제와 닝지 전부 제바 오다 된대기 냠는 게 추선데 듀메기 죄발하는 게 단속이 투기네스 대신 시월라라인 대송은 냠는 게 니버도 요레스 요사레 말을 전화도 준주다나 하고를 송바르데 이제 송을 오 대인도산에 듀메기 죄발하는 게 이나야 추송이 봐도 냠술랭 고래서야다 대송바래 어디 인체 대기 드는 알아서 대랭기 주된당 드네 다금 주변 내두게 값 두바 어다 자상지 드네 차와이
The 20 was reverses. If one is not endowed with the 3 Dharma practices, one is not different from listener and
不具三法无异声缘者。
What it means is like, for example, when one reach to the highest level of the practice, for example, the high level of the view and so forth, and sometimes people like act like kind of the Shantideva, like we are commonly known the Shantideva. You know what happened was he was nearly kicked out from the Nalanda University The reason why is that when we look at him, we see only three things: eating, then walking or defecating or sleeping. These three things. So that's why we don't know what is there in the quality within him, and people are trying to kick him out. But somehow we don't see the inner quality of such person. But what Lord Jigten stated is that even if a person like a Shantideva should have to have three different kind of the Dharma practices. That is the practice within our mind. And these three things are the first one is that one should not do all the evils, not doing all the evils. And the second one is to accomplish all the practices of do all the virtuous deeds. And the third one is like kind of the compassionate, loving kindness and compassion to all other sentient beings. So if somebody asks, if we see that the Shantideva, to have whether the Shantideva have these three qualities or not, we should have to look at the Bodhicharya Avatara. So then we can know that. Then we would know that whether this person is not. Otherwise, if you don't have these three things, then it doesn't matter even if we are in a higher level, but we fall in the category of the listeners and self-realized Buddhas. That means the Shravakas Yanas. And we would never become Bodhisattvas Yana. So therefore, one should have to have these three things in our mind stream. And so this is up to here. We have finished all the units of the vital points of view, meditation, and conduct.
第20季不具三法无异声缘者，那当我们这个已经修到最高层次的这个修行或见地的时候，我们应该行止应该像是吉天菩萨。可是如果只从外相来讲的，吉天菩萨在当时差点被那烂陀大学赶出来，因为大家只看到他外在的行为，就是什么呢？就是那个他整天只是吃饭睡觉上厕所走路这样子，那只光从外相是看不到他的内在的这个功德的。所以我们要知道吉天菩萨已经修到那么高的层次，他也有3个法，一个是止恶，他是不行恶的，不行一切恶行的，行善是成就一切善行，第3个就是具足对众生的大悲心。那吉天菩萨有这3个功德与否，如果我们有任何怀疑的话，可以去看他所写的入行论就可以知道了。那如果说一个修行层次高或见解高的人没有具足这个行善止恶具大悲心的话，那么即使我们认为说他修行层次高，他的也不过是像声闻缘觉乘的行者一般的。那今天已经圆满了这个第6见修行品的讲解，那现在就回向。以此功德的正人切见，击败一切过患之敌众，生老病死杂难诸国逃，轮回大海远度诸众生。祈求上师贵体圣妙康，祈求尊生寿命及久长，祈求事业奇智圆满胜，愿得无离上师其加持。有如文殊勇士大智慧，复世普贤菩萨如是行，随时必等一切我学习此功德等一切尽回向。佛陀三身得正机加持，法性不变真谛之加持，圣洁真故坚固自己之加持，如是回向祈愿越成就。以我以及一切有情众生死所积圣业与佛性，愿我与等虚空诸众生速证无上正等觉妙道，所知遍照遍智法之尊，缘起皆住。 数只在只供达人间八支教法片有记，讲修愿由闻思修持之。殊胜菩提心妙法未生起者，愿生起；生者亦不退，即愿辗转更众生。
电之内了王陀的公巴人间巴界电巴心态巴协助推三公变真主界强主三主人波马界巴南界主界界巴娘巴没巴。
今天到这里圆满，谢谢各位，大家早安，大家晚安。那明天星期三也是同样的时间，加州早上7点半，然后亚洲晚上10点半，但是星期五是最后一天，可能会提早半个钟，就是加州或美国西岸是7点，亚洲是晚上10点开始。但是主办单位会进一步做宣布，因为星期五星期五也堪千仁波切在9点会开始他的那个色卡玛的法教，所以主办单位正在这个协调这个过程。现在宣布了。所以星期五呢，最后一天是会提早半个钟头，也就是加州西岸7点钟，亚洲晚上10点钟开始。那刚刚这个主办人也讲了，就说我们已经快要圆满了，19讲已经讲了17讲了。也谢谢各位这么多次来能够坚持继续听下去，尤其是亚洲的法友还要熬夜来听，这个难为你们了，谢谢。现在看见讲时间过得很快，那我们也是跟时间一样一起飞的，光阴飞逝，我们也一起飞。谢谢各位，明天同一时间见，记得